I'm here with my buddy Kevin from EOS New York, and we are at the EOS New York number 4 meetup. It's hard to believe that there's been 4 already.
Only if you don't count blockchain and beers. We've had a couple of those too. They're kind of like half meetups.
I don't count them because I wasn't there.
Fair enough.
But yes, they were in fact happening, even if you're not there. So tell us a little bit about what's going on tonight, what you guys have been up to.
Yeah. Oh well, we've been up to a lot. So as everyone knows, June is rapidly approaching. For me, it couldn't come fast enough. I feel like time has slowed down. You have dog years and I have EOS days. It's kind of the same thing. But we are working very hard on continuing to offer a place for the community to get together. This is our 4th meetup. Tonight is developer focused. We want to actually build things, learn how, when you're finished with your smart contract, how to launch it onto the blockchain, and do all the interaction. We're going to be unveiling a community open source project that we've been working on. It's basically a documentation supplement to the main EOS wiki. It's eosdocs.io. We hope to grow this out and just cram it full of useful tools for developers everywhere.
Super excited to be here. There's lots of developers in the room, lots of smart guys, way smarter than me. And I just found one who's going to talk to you a little bit about why he's here.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Tom. I'm from Hong Kong, and we are running a BP candidate called OneCount, and also we are part of other major blockchain infrastructure projects, including BitShares, which is BM's first project.
My new best friend.
Yeah, we are running the full node for BitShares, which improves user experience, mainly for the Chinese domestic market. We improve the network response time by 10 times.
For sure.
And also some other technology like Quantum, Stella, and also we are trying to become a bridge of public blockchain with enterprise user and developers.
Wow.
So that's basically what we are doing.
Excellent. So this guy's trying to achieve a lot of stuff here, and has already. That's really wonderful. Are there any limitations with the regulations?
Yes. There are some serious regulations.
Yeah.
So for the rest of the Asia, I think Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan, they are embracing blockchain and cryptocurrency. But we should be very careful for China. The government position is more like embrace blockchain technology, but they are very worried about things around cryptocurrency. From the point to
hey everybody, 5-minute warning, 5-minute warning when you get started. Grab some pizza, have a seat, pull up your computer.
The rationale is there, but it's always how to deal with new.
My buddy Rick from EOS New York, and we've just been going over how excited we are about the upcoming launch and all the preparation that's been going into it, and these events and all the work he's been doing. The guys are getting this, but he's excited about all of it. So Rick was kind of going over what's going to need to happen for the launch. Can you give some details?
Sure, I'll give some high-level details because the technical items might be a little boring, but basically we're going to be
Not for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Depending on who the audience is. But the network is going to be launched around June 2nd. We'll be taking a snapshot of the ERC20 token distribution. It will be going into the BIOS bit code. The network will be launched with appointed block producers, and then after all that is done, we need 15% of all token holders to actually join the network and perform an action.
You hear that, people? You got to get involved. Join the network, take an action.
That's correct. You'll need to actually basically boot the software itself, and I would recommend voting for some block producers. Once we have 15% of token holders that have initiated an action, we'll then be able to have all tokens released, and you can start trading them, you can stake them for bandwidth, you can buy RAM, whatever it might be.
Awesome. What are you going to do with your tokens?
We're staking them, and basically we just want to get producing blocks and make sure the network is stable and secure, and then all the developers that are here tonight, we want them to come and try it out. This is the main network that's started doing some stuff.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'll also mention that once 15% of token holders have performed an action, we will then be able to ratify the Constitution, which is a critical component for EOS and on-chain governance, which hasn't been tried before yet. So this is going to be a big differentiator with EOS from other blockchain networks, and on-chain governance is going to help formulate and help hone consensus amongst all the different parties, and we're hoping that the governance system on EOS is going to help avoid hard forks and other sorts of political disputes like we see in Bitcoin with Bitcoin Cash, or even Ethereum right now about whether or not to go to proof of stake or remain a proof of work consensus.
Everybody's got some skin in the game, so to say, right? Yeah. So it's not like you're just going to buy Bitcoin and that's it. And you don't have a say about anything.
Right. Exactly. So if you're a Bitcoin holder, you don't have a say who the miners are, right? And you don't have a say necessarily over the governance. I mean, you can signal on Bitcoin. You can say I vote for X or I vote for Y. You can do that, but it's not something that's binding, and it's not something that really hones consensus. And what you need is a human element. Code can only take us so far. We need humans to interact, and we need humans to come to agreement on critical topics.
Yeah, man, it's radically different. So, quick brief on what's happening here tonight.
What we're doing tonight is we have our partner Warren Fitzgerald, and he's going to be talking about how to actually build on EOS. If you're a dApp developer or anyone that's just interested in building on EOS, he's going to walk you through all the steps you'll have to do to build the code, and how to create a smart contract, how to write one, all the little ins and outs that you need to be aware of, and then also a lot of this is going to be adjusted a little bit once the network launches, because there's another version coming out. So we'll talk a little bit about that, what expected changes we want to see.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be action-packed with lots of info. You heard it here first. Thank you.
Everybody to the 4th meetup in New York City with EOS, hosted by EOS New York at AWS. Thank you very much, AWS. My name is Kevin Rose. I'm the co-founder of EOS New York and head of community. I'm accompanied by my co-founder Rick Schlesinger and our partner in developer education and relations and of binary focus, Warwick Fitzgerald, and then special guest Tom Tao from WANcloud, who has come all the way from Hong Kong to join us to talk a little about his block producer candidacy and what they've been doing over there as well. And we also have Edgar from EOS Costa Rica here. There we go, another block producer candidate. And is there another block producer candidate in the crowd? Worley. Oh, awesome. Okay. I wish I knew you were coming. We could have you say some things. Worley, very cool decentralized bank. A lot of cool stuff happening there. So this morning, it has been a whirlwind time, and it's just going to get even faster over the next month. This morning I woke up at 5:30, which I usually do to feed my baby daughter. That's when she decides that she's starving. But at 6 a.m. I dialed into a block producer discussion panel for a meetup in Singapore, which was with EOS Cybex, Meet.1, EOSphere, and Acro EOS from Korea. And that's been what our day has been like every day. It's around the clock no matter. I got a Casio world timer watch. I could start to flip to time zones. It's been really helpful. I threw a leather band on it to make it fancy. But what I practiced with them this morning is, we just wanted to give a quick EOS New York in under 60 seconds. A nice pun here up in the left. So our core team, the three of us, Kevin Rose, Rick Schlesinger, and then Buddy Deck, who's not here. He's our head of block production. In delegated proof of stake and in EOS, the governed blockchain, the values of a block producer, or the people who are actually enforcing the constitution and governance of the blockchain, the values are very important. So real quickly, everything that we do needs to add value back into the EOS system. We want to do it transparently and into one of three categories. Either education of token holders and non-token holders, increasing adoption of the token itself. Community, exactly what we're doing now, getting together, sharing ideas, and seeing how we can build some things together. And then technology actually building them and furthering the advancement of the EOS IO software. And we do that all in accordance with the token holder referendum, your vote, what will hopefully be a functioning arbitration system, and then also the Constitution. Our community involvement, we're involved in the community hackathon. See, this is way over 60 seconds. I should practice this more. Monthly meetups, we want to keep doing these every month. We actually may have another one before the end of the month. If you're interested in how launch is going to go, and come and hear how we're actually coordinating that across the world. Different testnet involvements, if you're in the Telegram channels, you know all about that. And then you can find us in social media, Medium, Steemit, Twitter, Bihoo, WeChat, you name it, we're on it. We want to hear from you. For our technical plan, we're starting off with a cloud solution and then moving on to a hybrid solution toward the end of the year where we'll co-locate or build our own data center in Q3. And then for our specific initiatives, two. First is what we believe will be one of the most used tools in the ecosystem, which we're calling the EOS Resource Planner. If you're a developer, which I hope many of you are, you might have asked yourself, how many EOS will I need to actually build this idea? How to obtain the resources on the blockchain that I require. So we're building that tool where you will say, I have X EOS, this is what that gets you, or I need this in bandwidth, RAM, CPU, and storage, and this is how many EOS you need. And then the last is we have partnered with SUNY Purchase to do some research on the transaction costs on the blockchain and the employer-employee relationship. So that is EOS New York, not in 60 seconds, but thank you for listening. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Tom Tao, our special guest from WANcloud, fellow block producer candidate, and he is going to talk to us a little bit about what they're doing on the other side of the world. So.
Thanks, Kevin and Rick and EOS New York, and for their generous request. I got about 15 minutes to talk about what we are and what WANcloud is going to do with EOS ecosystem. So is everyone can hear me very clearly?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Blowing it.
So basically, I'm come from Hong Kong, and we plan to build our BP nodes in multiple locations, including Shanghai and major cities in the East Asian region. And we are not new to the blockchain community. Actually, WANcloud, we are working with many existing blockchain infrastructures. So we are open source and neutral, innovative blockchain platform in Asia. And we aim to provide the blockchain solution to enable services, not just by the community alone. We believe if major blockchain infrastructures like EOS become mainstream, it has to be very comprehensive ecosystem, which involves not just geeks, but also enterprises, users, and developers. So our vision is to bridge the enterprise developers with EOS community. So I'm not sure how many people from corporate background. Okay, there are many. Myself, I worked for IBM for over 15 years before I jumped into this blockchain water. So we got a vision about, we think the future will become more decentralized or distributed. So we published a white paper last year, just share our findings around the new ecosystem or the new economy enabled by blockchain from Bitcoin. So we we are foreseeing there will be a new format of business is now emerging. We call it distributed business, which is not enabled by formal employment relationship. There's no ownership for organizations. The coin, just like EOS or Bitcoin, they represent multiple things. Not just there's no ownership, but anyone who hold a coin, they can become part of the community and also enjoy a share of the total network's value. And there's no data control, no user control, just like today's internet giants, right? We are very familiar with many scandals. But blockchain opened a new world, which is so different from the traditional, no matter global companies like IBM or internet giants like Google or Facebook, Alibaba. So in the future, we believe communities like EOS could become a future format of business. People sitting here might come from all over the world, and there's no formal employment contract we need to sign before we can collaborate with each other. So we believe this will become the future. That's why One Cloud, we dedicate ourselves into this area. So these are some of our guys, and you can see why I'm here, because I'm the only guy without glasses. I can see you guys much clearer.
And a suit.
So actually, we've been working in the blockchain industry since 2016. We formed this One Cloud, and we have our first launch in last May. We have our One Cloud Pass, which is more like a universal identity management to enable users or developers to just use a single identity to access to different blockchain infrastructures, no matter it's Ethereum, Hyperledger, or some other version of federal chains, and followed by our attention to become part of the public chain infrastructure. So we've now been One Cloud before the BP candidate for EOS. Now we have been hosting some of the major blockchain infrastructures, including BShares. Anyone know BShares?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first project from BM. And we are running a full node now in China to help the Chinese user to get much better user experience with the BShares network. And by the way, I'm not sure whether you guys know, the major business transactions on BShares actually happen in China. And there has been a stable cryptocurrency, is a very hot topic there, right? But actually there is a very stable cryptocurrency enabled by BShares. It's called BTCNY. So there's Chinese RMB, the digital version running on BShares every day. The daily transaction is about over 200 million RMB. So it's not something very fancy, but it's already there and get used. Questions maybe? How about let me just finish this and I will come back to you later. So and also we develop the IDE environment for multiple blockchain environment and also APIs to enable some very fundamental capabilities from blockchains. For example, there are many hot areas around supply chain, around provenance services, which all come from a very basic feature of blockchain, which is the provenance services. There are some system enabled by Ethereum, by Factom, and we just develop or package this service into an API so that enterprises, developers, they don't need to build their own blockchain infrastructure. They just call our API and they can enjoy the benefits. And also we we have an investment arm. So we invested tens of startups. They are building solutions, services around the basic public and federal blockchain infrastructure. And now we are heading for the BP election. So just give you an example. These are the, some of them are, from the logo you can see the Quantum, B-Shares, Stella, and Factom, and some applications around Ethereum like block apps, and some federal version of Ethereum, just like Quorum. It's a federal chain from Morgan Stanley, I think, together with Consensus. So these are some transactions from our full node or API server supporting infrastructures like B-Shares and Stellar. So we've been developing solutions in many domains around the supply chain, the notary service, the smart IoT program, and some content sharing program, etc. You can find the details from our website. And also the development tools. So here's you can visit our website and also our Telegram groups and WeChat groups. And you know, the last but the least, there will be another event in next Monday, which is from our investment arm. We are forming a next generation, the distributed accelerator for the industry to enable innovations around the blockchain, major technology, just like EOS. So if you guys got interested, you can join us next Monday. So that's a brief introduction about OneCloud. So questions?
Yeah, I thought that at least in the beginning, the BitShare stable coin was basically a complete failure, no?
I don't think it's a failure.
Well,
so there are.
It's fully dropped. They weren't able to maintain a stable.
It's still a live system. There are thousands of people, mainly Chinese people. The government has banned any cryptocurrency trading in the mainland China, but the BTCNY continue work because it's a decentralized. It's not a centralized exchange. It's more like a decentralized exchange. So the number is the current number. Every day there will be over 200 million RMB transactions through the BTCNY. So people in China, they can buy BTCNY with their fiat currency, and then they can use this BTCNY to buy any kind of digital currencies through the B-Shares platform. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. I think it's pretty cool that EOS has sparked this global conversation with people all over the world. And Tom coming here is one example of that, but this kind of thing is happening every day. And if you are not in the Telegram channels, I absolutely encourage you to get in there, and you'll be amazed at the kinds of people you'll get to talk to and the ideas you'll learn about. All right, so we're going to get into the actual meeting.
Myself and 100 C++ developers walked through eosdocs.io. This is a collaborative effort between EOS New York and Binary Focus. So this will tell you how to get an app started on the EOS.io network. And it starts with this great infographic of what the architecture looks like. So we're not going to get too deep into this, but I did want to point you to this site. It'll walk you through the entire process on
how to get set up, how to compile your software, building a wallet. There's also some great resources here that were contributed by Object Computing, so by Kevin Heifner, I believe his last name is, and Phil Mesnier. So Kevin has contributed more code to the EOS.io GitHub repository than Dan Larimer, and these are his tutorials here. So this is a treasure trove, and it's the best place to start if you're looking to build a dApp on the EOS.io network. Thanks everybody for tuning in to this YouTube video, and I hope to bring you more soon.